So I have to tell you, I started in the 90s, so let's start there. And I got introduced to the chapters because in graduate school, it was a requirement for us to join a professional organization. And I am so happy because the wisdom of professors in your 20s, you have no idea why you should do this, right? And it's not free. I mean, it's cheap because they do have student rate.
Yeah.
And so the professor says you need to join, go to one event and write what your experience was. And so it was through that exposed me to it. And from there, one of my very first events, ISPI, the local chapter, used to have this thing called a Cracker Barrel. And literally they had a table full of different subject matter experts that you can learn about e-learning. You can learn about, and back then it was like really low level e-learning, but you can learn about e-learning and coaching and consulting and things like this.
Yep.
So I got excited from the learning and the exposure. So as a young professional, you don't know what you don't know. And so when you're starting out, the benefit of joining these organizations, for no other reason, to hear all the buzzwords and to start to take what you're learning in the books and see how it plays out in real life with people that are doing the jobs.
Mm-hmm.
So it equips you with what questions should I be asking? And in our field specifically, we're probably one of the few roles, I would say, that there's probably 20 different terms for what we call ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
And you're not going to be able to learn that in a textbook. So just in building your own institutional knowledge to say, where do I want to go? What industry? What do I want to do? That is the value point. So for me, that's been a big deal. It's interesting. I didn't target to go into leadership with the chapter leader experience. It was something because I was learning so much. I'm like, well, let me just try it.
Usually
The development that you No, exactly. So I'm like, oh, I'll just try it, right?
Yeah.
And so coming from a large chapter, we have a lot of people. So I'm like, I'll just try it. And I was actually surprised at the development that you get, and you know this well too, as a leader that you don't even plan to get. And so the opportunity to grow your coaching skills, your communication skills, your presentation skills, your written skills, even your influence skills, because being a part of a nonprofit organization, you're not working with big budgets. Mm-hmm. And so the ability to build those relationships and influence others to be speakers for at a minimum cost to bring to your things is, I didn't put an individual development plan together, but there's all these development opportunities that has benefited my professional life and working with clients that I got from my chapter experience. So the exposure to widen my learning, because I'm an independent consultant, right? Mm-hmm. So I have to kind of go wider, has been really good. And then also understanding, how do you consult, right? Because everybody approaches their client differently. So for me, the learning has been so valuable. And then the more I learn, I start to dig into research. I'm like, oh, okay. So it keeps me current. So I would say professional organizations will keep you current. And because things are constantly changing, I know quite a few IDs that were not equipped to go virtual because they had been on one track. I said, join a national chapter. You would at least see what good and bad virtual sessions look like.
Yeah.